Welcome to the Golden Note podcast, everyone. My name is Jesse.
And I'm Karen Deep.
Today we are going to be covering a pop punk album called Can't Stop. Or no, Can't Stop. I'm thinking of the Red Hot Chili Peppers for a second. Can't Slow Down.
Slow Down.
Similar vibe. Can't Slow Down by Saves the Day. Yeah, I brought this album up to review. And so I'd love to talk about some of the background really quick here. This album came out in the late 90s, right around when pop punk was entering definitely a revival with Blink-182 kind of simmering in the background and really on their come up. Mm-hmm. Green Day had already happened in 94 with Dookie. And so pop punk had been brought back for sure. But there's kind of like this, after 94, Green Day was kind of like the only really big pop punk artist around at the time, and post grunge was still like a really popular thing. And I think Third Eye Blind was like the only other like big pop punk artist at the time. So, but in the underground, there's a lot of pop punk underground stuff happening. And as I said, Blink-182 is kind of really starting to come up here. And then we have Saves the Day from New Jersey, who's making waves and releasing this debut album in 1998. So,
and they were quite young when they did this, eh?
They're very young. Yeah. This was like right out of high school, or like, I think it was like Christmas break in their grade 12 year.
Yes, I heard that as well. And then they released it as after they graduated.
Okay.
Which is kind of insane because, I mean, when you listen to it, you don't think it's a bunch of high school kids. It's like, this is great.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, what is your background with this album and band besides me kind of bringing it up? Or is that
completely fresh, completely new? I had no idea that this existed until you showed it to me.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm excited. Let's talk about the album artwork to get started.
Yes. Saves the Day, Can't Slow Down.
Yes.
Definitely evokes the feeling that you can't slow down. Mm-hmm. To me, it's more about driving drunk, but it definitely looks like something.
You're on the road.
You're on the road.
There's lights happening. Everything's kind of blurry. It does look like you're speeding. Almost like like if you're driving drunk. Maybe that's what it looks like. I don't know. But
it definitely
blurry,
feels like the 90s. This got the 90s all over it.
Yeah, for sure. Even with the fonts and everything.
Yeah.
I think the album name is fitting for like the pop punk vibes, right? The very fast paced aspect of the music.
It's funny, they say can't slow down, but the first few songs they're dragging.
Ooh,
we'll get there.
We'll get there. Yeah. Well, let's. Karen, what can a person expect when they listen to this album?
Would you be upset if I said disappointment?
No. Hey, take it away. Take it away.
I'm joking only a little bit. You can expect fast rhythms, great guitars, a lot of pop punk rock stuff, vocals that are very evocative of that style of music.
Okay.
And it's very clear what pitches the guy's singing, but not necessarily in the most musical way.
Okay.
So if you're completely new to the genre, you'd be wondering, wow, what is this singing style?
Okay.
Is this even called singing? But if you are familiar with the genre, I think you'll enjoy it just as much.
Yeah. It's very belty and very just like yelly singing, right?
Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. Just like constant, just belting at full range, full volume. I would say, relentless power chords throughout this entire album, right? Just like constant, if it's not like, palm muted chugging, it's just like full throttle, power chords, many chord changes for sure.
Yes, and key changes.
Yeah.
Even the sound of the guitars is actually pretty good. I mean, this is like a late 90s album, but the guitars were clear, distinct, and even the low end was pretty tight for what it was.
Yeah, 100%. There's also the lyrics, which I would characterize as dramatic. There's definitely some dramatic moments.
For me, the lyrics really went over my head. It was really hard to grasp on what exactly the message he was saying or the words in themselves. Maybe part of me just couldn't get past the way he sang.
Okay.
And it was like a psychological break. But
so describe to me, because this singer, his name's Chris Connolly. He is very, in terms of his vocals, it's very controversial because the first two albums he sings very similarly, and the way you heard it on Can't Slow Down. And then the third album, you start to hear a shift in his vocals where he becomes a bit more softer. And there's also a musical switch. And then the next album after that, he's like, who is this singer? It's like sounds like a completely different vocalist, but it's him, and nobody knows what happened. even now, there's like people just kind of guess, like maybe it was wear and tear on his vocals, or maybe he decided to sing in a different way, or maybe both. But most people generally who are fans of the band, they generally like his singing on this and the next couple albums. So,
Okay.
But you don't like it. So tell us what you don't like about it.
I feel like it gets grating after some time.
Yeah.
But it also feels like he's just shouting at me.
Okay.
And it's hard to shout with him.
Yeah.
Because some shout or aggressive vocals could feel inviting, but I didn't feel like this was as inviting as I wanted it to be.
Okay. It was like a bit angry and pointed at you.
Well, it wasn't even like super angry. It's more of like kind of complaining.
Yep. Yeah, big time. There's a lot of complaining.
There's a lot of complaining things. So I was like, I don't know if I want to listen to complaining right now.
Yeah.
But I don't mind the energy, and I don't mind the excitement of it all.
I'm going to coin this term. It is suburban blues. It is white boy suburban blues.
That's fantastic. Yes.
It's just, a guy who's got a lot of things to complain about, usually heartbreak. And yeah, but he lives in the suburbs, and yeah. Is your mic working?
Yeah, it's working.
Oh, okay.
Thank God.
So you don't like his approach, but what about his tone?
The tone, it felt a little bit out of place. Now, I don't think it's his voice in particular.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the way it was mixed. All of the instrumentation had a really nice bed to it, but the vocals I felt like were just a little bit off-centered in terms of the timbre of it. It was a little more bitey, a little bit more of an edge to that, where all the other instruments felt a little bit rounded and softened out.
Yeah.
So I wish it would just sat in the mix a little bit better.
Yeah.
Although the volume was good. The volume of it was good, but it just sort of had this timbre to it that I felt like was missing something.
Yeah. I can't say I agree. I love it, dude. Like I ate it up when I first listened to this. Actually, no, that's a lie. This was like a challenge album for me. There's a few albums in my life where I was like, I want to get into this, so I'm gonna listen to it a bunch and see if I can like it.
Yeah. You did your homework.
I did my homework, but it was more so like I really love this band and I really want to explore every aspect of their career. And their next two albums are a lot more accessible, in my opinion, like a lot more pop oriented, like the pop punk. Whereas this one is a lot more like punk. Like there's a lot more hardcore punk elements to this. And for me, it was like, where's the chorus? Where's the structure? Like, where's something I can hold on to? And I knew that this album had like a following. Like people really love this album, who love this band. And so I was like trying to understand what they heard. And I got it.
Great.
But it took a few listens for sure.
Well, what is it that you got?
For me, the energy of this album is just like so infectious. Like I love how fast paced everything is. I love the angst is just dripping in angst.
Yes.
And I eat that up for sure. And I do like the yelly vocals.
Okay.
Like I love the drama. I love the emo. Like I do like emo music, like I'm not the biggest emo fan, but I definitely love some aspects of emo music. And so those are things I gravitated towards. But for me, the biggest hurdle that I had was just like the songwriting and the structure of the songs. It just felt like they weren't trying to make the songs memorable. And it almost became like a memory game for me. Like, can I remember these songs when I like re-listen to them, and like, can I latch onto something so that it's memorable? And it really did take a few times for me to be like, okay, like, yes, like this is great. And I can sing these songs back and like remember stuff. But it was like how do you call it? Like acquired taste for me. It was an acquired taste. But I can see why you felt like the singing was too yelly and complainy, because there's so much complaining about heartbreak and
Yeah.
people don't love me. My girlfriend, this girl doesn't like me.
I mean, when you realize, when you put it into perspective, these are teenagers coming out of high school.
Yeah,
What else are they going to talk about?
exactly.
What else are they angry about?
Yeah.
I think the memory aspect of things, or the memorable aspect of things, also was what got me, or something that I had a challenge with listening to this. First glance, I see a lot of minute-long tracks.
And you were like, this is a Jesse album.
100%.
There ain't no 6 minute. I think there's one 5-minute song in this whole album.
Yeah, and that was a surprise.
Yeah.
However, there was a couple of songs. It was from Nebraska Bricks. Going into Seeing It This Way was
Seeing it this way,
fantastic.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They transitioned into one another and they made sense together.
Yeah.
And it was at that point in the album where I felt like, oh, this is just one big performance.
Yeah.
This isn't necessarily track by track.
Yeah.
And so when I started listening to this album from that point of view, like, let me just go along with the ride. And I'm not too worried about being discrete of each song, but each song does have a character, but it's more about how it flows into the next. That was really helped me piece together the experience.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I'm glad you were able to catch on to Nebraska Bricks. I'm glad you're mentioning that one because for me, that's a standout track. And it's actually one of the few songs where he doesn't talk about heartbreak.
Right.
And he talks about like being in like a bit of a broken home where like his parents divorced, and he actually mentions slow jazz music in that
Maybe that's
song.
why it really spoke to me.
Where he grew up listening to slow jazz music to keep his heart beating is like the lyrics in that song. So for me, that song is great as kind of like taking a bit of a breather from like the constant onslaught of like, you know, this girl doesn't love me and or whatever, we broke up.
Fast-paced drums and
but Nebraska Bricks is still very fast paced. There is though, I think maybe you're going to mention one song that's slower.
I'm not sure exactly the slower song, but I was going to mention that a lot of the blast beats happening in the first like
blast
half
beats,
of the album was like, it starts off strong and it kind of settles in and it kind of drags a little bit, and then coming out of the blast beats, it's like, great, we're back on tempo, and then we drag a little bit.
Oh, you like the drumming performance?
The drumming performance, yes.
Dang, okay.
So I was taken aback a little bit by that because every time they went back into blast beats, it would be the same settling a little bit, like maybe like 5 BPM, a little bit slower.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, this is pretty consistent, but also consistently inconsistent.
Consistently incorrect.
Yes. So like the excitement aspect of things, like those blast beats are so exciting and engaging. That really kind of just dampened my vibe a little bit going through that until these two songs where I felt like these were a little bit more sophisticated.
Okay.
There's a little bit more elements where the guitar was more interactive with the vocal, and there's some breaks, some orchestration, some little moments like that.
Yeah.
But in the first like maybe quarter or third of the album, there wasn't much interaction. It was just Anya,
yeah,
it's on all the time. There wasn't
doesn't
like
leave you alone.
no conversation. It's just smack you in the face and enjoy it.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I've never noticed the drums being off though. That's wild. Maybe that's just a me thing. But I will say like the drummers were never like, they went through several drummers in this band.
Okay.
For a while, but yeah, for me the drums were never like a huge standout on this album or in the band in general. For me, it was always the vocals and the lyrics and just like the relentless guitar and just the way it was all arranged. And for me, it clicks and it works, but I knew this would be a challenge for most people like listening. Like it is like a bit of a curveball for sure. And it was really interesting. The New Jersey scene had a bunch of bands that were kind of similar to this, but believe it or not, this album was kind of like the more poppy and accessible version of what was happening in New Jersey at the time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What does this album mean to you then?
This album to me is very representative of summer of grade 10.
Nice.
Where I just like constantly listen to this. It influenced me a lot in terms of honestly my singing style. Like I get a lot of my singing influence from pop punk singers such as Chris Connolly in this band. So yeah, I'd say that.
Great. Yeah. I heard or I read that Chris Connolly was heavily inspired by this one specific band and I forgot the name of
Lighthouse?
it. Lighthouse,
Yeah.
something like that. I think started
Yeah.
with an L.
Yeah.
And have you listened to that band as well?
I listened to them a while back when I was first getting into this band, and it was like I saw it in the guitar and the instruments. I did not see it in the vocals.
Interesting.
Like, the Lighthouse vocals were like very punk,
Mm-hmm.
like similar to John Lydon in the Sex Pistols a little bit.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Whereas like Chris Connolly is actually, he has like vocal chops, in my opinion. Like, he hits notes.
Definitely, he does. Yeah.
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 Great.
Yeah. And there is like, despite it not being catchy, there is an anthemic element to these songs. Like, for example, Always 10 Feet Tall.
I was just about to say.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. There's like a bass breakdown, and then there's like just like a really anthemic part there that I really love.
Yeah, I think there's like it goes into like a bass solo and then a guitar solo. Was it, or is that? I'm thinking about something else.
Yeah.
But that one was one of the catchiest songs. Always 10 Feet Tall.
Okay. Yeah. Great track. But for all the relentlessness of the power chords and all the energy, there's one song that's like an island on this album where you can kind of stop and breathe. And it's an acoustic track called 3 Miles Down.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know I listened to it, but it didn't
It's short.
stand out to me. Yeah.
It's like 2 minutes.
Great.
Like, it is the singing style is very similar, but it's all acoustic guitar. And I love it. And there's a lot of harmony potential in that song. And there are some harmonies at the end. And so when I was in high school and I was like playing along to this song, like I would, this was one of the songs that I really latched onto with my acoustic guitar and would like play. And I would always think of like different harmonies that I could apply to this song.
Yeah.
Kind of fun little thing, but shocker, it's a love song. A heartbreak
Shocker.
song. And some of the dramatic lyrics are like, he says in the song, I'd have the phone, call you on the phone and just let it ring for hours because you're not answering, but I'd let it ring for hours because I'm just waiting for you to pick it up.
Dang. That's rough. I mean, for a teenager, that's really, he's in the weeds.
Yeah. And then there's this, then Blindfolded, there's a song called Blindfolded. And this was like one of my all-time favorite tracks off this album. But like in my like adulthood brain, I go back to the lyrics. I'm like, this is like creepy. Like, the lyrics are concerning. But like as a teenager, I'm like, oh, this is so good. Or he talks about like being like the Shakespearean, like doing this like dramatic love thing for this girl, you know, where it's like you go to a girl's house and you're like throwing rocks at the windows, like, I love you, right? Like something like that. But then he takes this step further, and not only is he like throwing rocks to get this girl's attention at night, he like sneaks into the house
Nice.
and wakes her up by singing songs to her.
Wow.
And then he takes her out of the house to go on a little walk, mind you, blindfolded.
All right.
For whatever reason. I don't know why she's blindfolded. Maybe to like heighten the experience. I don't know. And then they like talk, and then she takes the blindfold off and says that she doesn't want to be with him. And then he's just so heartbroken. It's like, no one ever wants to be with me.
That's crazy.
I remember like absolutely like, wow, like obviously like it's so emo and it's so dramatic, but I just loved how emo it was. And even still I love it, but like there's definitely a part of me that's like, that is like super weird.
It is, because like when I put it into the perspective of myself, like if I'm writing a song and singing that song,
Yeah.
I don't know how I can sing that song.
Yeah.
Like I might write it and be like, well, I guess that works, but do I really want to sing that on stage?
Yeah.
Like tell people that this is something that I care about?
Yeah.
Or like I'm invested in? I don't think I can do that.
Right.
That's wild.
And that's a common theme through the lyrics. They're very confessional. They're very like, there's no subtlety. It's like, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about breaking into your house, talking to you, singing to you, and like trying to convince you to love me or whatever, be my girlfriend. And like, on other albums, it gets a little bit more, like the lyrics are a bit, they're less creepy, for example. But this style of being so confessional and being so blunt had another big impact for me, at least, on how I approach songs. I really love I hate songs that are just like so in the weeds and like you don't know. And like we were just talking about Neutral Milk Hotel, and on that album, like the lyrics are so strange and you don't exactly know what he's talking about, but they're so vivid and they paint such a weird and cool picture.
Yes.
Those lyrics I'm cool with. It's the lyrics that are just like, and then we were the blue in the sky, and then my feet, like it's just like stuff that's so general. Like I hate general lyrics that don't do anything, you know?
Yes.
And for me, the bluntness of these lyrics is such a good remedy to that. And I really love that. So
Fantastic. I mean,
yeah.
we have a couple songs that are like that. I mean, one of them was the our famous 3-chord pop punk song. You and whoever you were just with.
F you and whoever you're just
Yep.
with. Yep. Yeah, that's like straight out of the playbook of Saves the Day, and especially some of their later stuff. But yeah, the same DNA is exactly applied
Yeah,
to
and like now that I've listened to this album, Saves
the Day.
Saves the Day.
Yep.
I can hear that DNA in that song, and it makes
Cool.
a lot more sense.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad, man. Yeah. So, okay. So we talked about what you can expect, you know, relentless power chords, lots of complainy singing.
Yes.
I guess my questions are, because I feel like I've explained this. So for you,
Mhm.
if I could summarize, you hated, the biggest thing you hated was the complaininess, right?
Yes. It
That's
was
like-
the hardest thing to digest. I'm not sure if I
Okay.
would say I hated it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was the hardest thing to digest.
I hated the dragging drums more.
Okay. The musician in you were just like, I can't take this.
If you're gonna play blast beats, you're gonna play them in time.
You got to. Yeah. You really got to.
I mean, you gotta get your cardio up, but it's gotta be in time.
And then what is the one thing that you would say you like the most about the album then?
As I listened through the album, it got progressively tighter. This for somehow the mix felt a little bit better over time, and
Interesting.
it was more and more musical and engaging throughout all the songs
Okay.
as the time went on.
Okay.
Initially, it felt kind of bland, like energy, but it got more musically nuanced as the album went on.
Yeah.
So it was an overall very enjoyable experience to listen to this record.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like not okay. So you highlighted some of the bad stuff you didn't like, but overall you liked it. Okay, cool. Also, shout out to the bass player.
Yes.
The bass player in this band for the first 4 albums is just like so tight. And like they all went to high school together. Like this is just a guy who like picked up the bass in high school, and then he's like recording this track during the winter break, and he's just a killer bass player. It's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
like what the heck?
What are the chances?
What are the chances? I can't even play bass as good as him, and I'm like a decade older than he was when he recorded the bass there. So, anyways, okay, let's talk about our scores then.
Yes.
I will say my score is gonna be, it's gonna be oh my goodness. Now that I'm talking about this, it's got to be a 4 out of 5.
Okay.
4 out of 5. Purely because I just love this album. If I
That's
was more
fine.
objective, I might say 3.5 out of 5, because this is a lot of people will think this is a one-dimensional album where it's just like every song sounds the same. And I can totally see, especially people who are outside of the punk world and pop punk world, it's just like every track sounds exactly the same. And that was kind of like a hurdle that I had to get over. And now I kind of understand the uniqueness of each track, but it definitely is an acquired taste. And before you get that acquired taste, you will think that this is all just one song repeated over and over again. So objectively, it's probably 3.5, but personally, because I just love it so much and it holds such a special place, I'm going to say 4 out of 5.
Wow. For me, yes, 3.5.
Okay.
Yes.
There you go.
It was enjoyable. I thought, especially knowing that they were in high school, and this was kind of like halfway through listening to the album, I looked it up. I was like, holy crap. These guys are high school kids?
Yep.
Insane. So
Yep.
98, I think it was released in 98. High school kids playing this pop punk music, fantastic for what it was.
Yeah.
But there's some things that's like, okay, yes, you are high school kids, so you're probably going to drag a little bit. Maybe the variety or the clarity in some of those musical ideas that could come out could have been a little bit better.
Yeah.
But overall, fantastic, great effort, huge accomplishment, you know. And that's why I say it's a solid album, but it's not the best album.
For sure.
And or it could. There's so much room for potential that
Yeah.
I have to say a 3.5 for that one.
100%. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. So 4 plus 3.5 is 7.5
Yes, math.
out of 10. That's a solid score. It's not quite our golden note, 9 out of 10, but solid score. I'm happy with it.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed this episode and you enjoyed our review. Please let us know what you think of the album. And please subscribe and check out more of our stuff. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.